All right, and here we are with the long-awaited, way too early predictions for the 2022 Major League Rugby season. Now, this was actually a lot of fun for me to do. I took a look at all the teams, as you saw, previewed all the teams and all the individual videos. Hope that you guys enjoyed them. And looked over the schedule. I actually did create this logarithm that kind of factored in teams playing at home, teams coming off of buys, going through the strength of schedule. And again, it's not an exact science because, we don't know where exactly these teams are going to be into the 2022 season. Just a lot of guessing on the players that have been added, players that have been lost, coaches that have been added and lost, and that's going to be a huge thing that's going to come up in particular with one team. But all these added things, I feel I came up with a pretty good sense of how the season's going to end. Now, again, this is the what I would like to do, and I'm going to be doing this throughout the season. This is a power ranking, so it's not the exact standings per se. It's where I feel the teams are going to be the strongest, because there are going to be teams that are going to finish closely to the same. So yeah, maybe a team might finish a little bit higher, especially when it gets to the top two and maybe the bottom few. But this is roughly where I feel the strongest teams are going to line up at the top, and then the weaker at the bottom. And again, not an exact science, but I think it'll be fun to kind of look back at this at the end of the season and see how far or how close I was in predicting this. So here we go. So first team, we're going to start from the bottom 13 to the top one. There's 13 teams this year in the MLR, 7 in the Western Conference, 6 in the East. Obviously, team number 13, it really should be no surprise, is going to be the Dallas Jackals, the newest franchise in the league. Not much really to say. Very new team, brand new team, currently without a head coach. I feel so many teams have already been established. So many teams have already have that cohesiveness. Dallas is really going to come in brand new, and there's going to be a lot of growing pains, especially in that Western Conference where they're sitting in. So I don't expect much from them. Now, coming in at number 12, this might be a little surprising, might not be, but it's going to be Nola Gold. Again, you look at a lot of the players that they're losing, and I feel those pieces, and again, just go back to my YouTube videos, and I'll go into detail exactly who they're losing, but I feel they're losing so much, and they haven't added in enough. They're really going to struggle a lot this season, and probably be close to the bottom. Now, the next 3 teams I feel could easily kind of flip-flop around from the 9, 10, and 11, but this is kind of where I feel that they'll end up. And so number 11 is going to be the San Diego Legion. Not a lot of changes to their team, not a lot of additions, not a lot of losses, but especially in that Western Conference, and I mentioned this again in their YouTube video, a lot of teams have improved a lot, and I don't feel San Diego's done enough to make them super competitive or to rise up into the upper rankings. So San Diego's going to kind of be at the bottom. And again, they're in a very tough conference. I feel that they're going to suffer quite a few losses. Roughly, and I actually also came up with wins and losses, and I'll put them at the very end too for everyone to see, kind of a recap. But I feel the San Diego Legion might end about 5-11 for the season. Might not make a lot of Legion fans happy, but it's a tough schedule for them. Coming up next at number 10 is going to be the Toronto Arrows. The Arrows, again, coming off of the longest away season, longest road trip in the history of Major League Sports. Finally going to be able to play at home in their home country of Canada. But I feel, again, even though they had a very, very strong team in 2020, in 2019, I feel, again, just like with San Diego, there's so many other teams that have improved a lot. In the Eastern Conference, they have New York, and they have a couple of other teams that they have to deal with. I feel they're going to struggle as well. And then the Seawolves, the former two-time MLR champions, are going to be sitting at number 9 right now. Again, they haven't really changed a lot, and they struggled a lot in 2021 until they started kind of picking up momentum. I feel, again, they haven't made enough changes. All 3 of these teams haven't made enough changes, I feel, to compete with all the teams that have. A team that's kind of just a little bit, and actually I think these next 2 teams are just going to be kind of in that next echelon where we go into the next 8. Oh Glory DC is a team that's made a few changes, just enough, I feel, that will separate them from the Arrows, definitely from NOLA. So they kind of sit up a little bit higher than Seattle and San Diego as well. Again, you look at Houston, the SaberCats, with the addition of like Danny Barrett to the team. They've made some changes that are really good. Maybe not enough to compete with the upper teams. They also have a new head coach, a new GM, a new everything for them. Those growing pains are probably going to come out in the 2022 season. But, they have potential to grow into 2023 if everything continues on. And speaking of growing changes, this is where, with the announcement, unfortunately, of the loss of their head coach, Scott Lawrence, this is a huge change. But at number 6, I now have Rugby ATL, the runners-up from last year. Just a little peek behind the scenes. Originally, before the announcement of the loss of their head coach, I actually had them at number 2 in the power rankings, and I feel really, with the loss of Scott Lawrence as their head coach, it's going to hurt them a lot. So much so. And this top 4, again, like I said, power rankings, they can easily flip-flop. I feel because it's so competitive up here, it really pushed Atlanta down. So much so, too, it actually pushed out a team like Utah. Very strong, easily could jump into the top 4, but just these top 4 teams, there's a reason they're in the top 4, and Utah was just the odd team out. But again, could easily end up being either 3 or 2. Depending on how things fall. Now, the last 4, ironically enough, are also 2 teams in the West, 2 teams in the East. So these are also my playoff teams as well. And again, just because they end the way that they do doesn't necessarily mean that the top Western team is the number 1, the top Eastern team is the number 1. It could flip-flop, but these are the top 4 strongest teams, I feel, going into 2022. Just simply from what they've done so far in the offseason, how their schedule looks, and it's super, super competitive. I have, at number 4, Rugby United New York, making that big jump. They made it to the playoffs. They're 1 game short of the championship. I feel, especially with the addition of Sam Windsor, they're going to be a very, very dangerous team. I have them finishing 12-4, number 2 in the Eastern Conference. That's where they are at number 4. And now, with the drop of Atlanta, I have the Free Jacks finishing at number 3, top in the Eastern Conference at 13-3. I'll be honest with you, I feel even though Free Jacks are going to stay at number 1 and New York is going to be number 2 in the Eastern Conference, I truly believe that Rooney might be the team that actually goes to the championship game from the Eastern Conference. Just have a sinking feeling about that. And now, number 1 and 2. Really, probably not a surprise. If you watch the off-season transaction and movements, you saw how well they played last year. I feel, and especially with the drop now of Utah, number 2 is going to be the Austin Gilgronis. Very, very strong team. They were a strong team last year. They finished just shy of the playoffs, one game out, but I feel they made enough changes where they easily made that next jump. And then, of course, at number one, not being a homer about it, but being honest, the reigning, defending MLR champions, the LA Guiltinis. I actually have Guiltinis in Austin finishing at the same record of 14-2. So they could easily flip flop back and forth. Not saying that the Guiltinis will finish as the first seed. Austin easily can finish at the first seed, but it's going to be super, super close. The Guiltinis are bringing back the majority of their team. They're adding quite a few huge pieces. I feel they're just going to be so good. So now, that's your power rankings. Way too early preseason power rankings from the Dallas Jackal, NOLA, San Diego, Toronto, Seattle. Again, these three could easily flip-flop back and forth. Old Glory, Houston, Atlanta dropping because of Scott Lawrence. Utah being very close to being in these top four. I can easily see Utah maybe fighting with Austin and LA for that top spot. But I think Austin and LA have made such a big jump in talent that Utah might be the far third place in that ranking. And then Free Jackson Rooney can easily make their name to be in the first or second position as well. Not saying who's going to win the championship game. I already kind of slipped that I feel Rooney has a good shot of making the championship game from these two. You know, it could be anyone's game. Anyone can make it to the championship. And I'm not saying who exactly is going to win the 2022 championship shield, but it's a really good chance. But that's it. That is my way too early 2022 ranking for the MLR season. You agree, disagree? Let me know in the comments. Hit the subscribe button, hit the like for 411 Rugby. Hope you enjoyed this video. Hope you enjoyed all the preview videos as well. Let me know what you liked, what you disliked. Or let me know if you thought my assessment was correct. Again, I think this is going to be a fun little thing to watch at the end and see where they go. I forgot to mention this board, these little things. It's an inspiration of a great YouTube channel. I'm gonna put their link at the bottom in the comment section, in the description section. 2 Cents Rugby, run by a wonderful rugby fan who inspired me to do this video, and he does a very similar fashion whiteboard thing as well. He covers a lot of international rugby, United Rugby Championship. He covers even competitions in Japan and France, the Six Nations. Really a fountain of knowledge, a great follow. So if you want to expand even more of your rugby knowledge with international competitions, I highly recommend subscribing to 2 Cents Rugby. He does a very similar thing like this. Really great follow, really knowledgeable. But, you know, so I'm kind of stealing that idea a little bit. But all credit to him. But again, this is my way too early predictions. And then again, it'll be fun to see how close I am to being right or being completely wrong. But anyway, thank you again for watching this video.